Today on Auto Aficionado, we're going to be checking out a Mercedes SLS AMG and talking with owner Bill Chalkias about how his passion for cars brought a young kid all the way from northern Greece to Toronto, Canada, where he became a professional race car driver, instructor, and an avid collector.
My name is Bill Chalkias, and I'm the owner of a 2011 SLS Gullwing. So it all started up when I was like around 14 years old, back home in Greece, in a small little tiny village. I wanted to buy a BMW back in the days, which it was the 2002. It was like the hot rod back in Europe. And I couldn't afford, there's no money back home, you know. So then I decided the only way I have to make some money, come to Canada. So I came when I was 15 and a half years old, almost 16 years old. And I work in the fur industry. And I started it up saving some money. So I bought my first BMW, 1971, 2002. As years went by, I started modifying it, put a 6-cylinder instead of 4, turbocharging it and all that stuff. Then my daughter, my youngest daughter, had a really big interest in the car, and I say, if you do good in school, one day it's gonna be yours.
This car is the successor to the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. The SLS stands for Super Leicht Sport, or Super Light Sport. That's because the SLS is almost 300 pounds lighter than the McLaren, making it the faster car on the track. This is actually the first Mercedes to be designed and built entirely from scratch by AMG. When it was introduced in the 2009 Frankfurt Motor Show, AMG claimed that its 6.2-liter V8 was the most powerful, naturally aspirated production series engine ever made.
That SLS, it's got a good history from way back in the days when they built the first generation Gullwing, and this is the second generation Gullwing SLS, which I fell in love with the first generation, but there's nowhere you can afford the first generation SLS. They're so bloody expensive. So I kind of settled with this one. I wish I can afford to buy the other one back in the days. One day, my friend phoned me and he says, hey Bill, if you want a really nice car, I know where's one. Let's go take a look at it. So I went, I looked at it. As soon as I saw it, I want it. It was a love at first sight, you know?
One look at these doors and you can see immediately the inspiration taken from the 300SL Gullwing. They close manually because AMG engineers decided against the additional weight of an auto-close system, which would have added 90 pounds to the vehicle, and they can be completely detached in case of a rollover.
It's the looks of the car. It's when that car makes a statement. Anywhere you go and you open those doors, you know, people go, wow, you know, and that's what got me going, you know, in the beginning with a car, right? It's the looks of this car and the noise, the sound. Once you punch that car and you go rev her up, it's like the noise is phenomenal. I don't know what to find wrong with this car, to be honest with you. I mean, I love everything about it. I own the car now for quite a few years, and the maintenance, it was like zero on the car, other than oil changes, which is okay, and maybe I changed the battery because I haven't driven the car for a long time.
So you were saying that you have been a driving instructor for, well, you've been a race car driver for 35 years?
I started racing for like over 35 years. Like I've been racing cars, and now I do the ad racing with my daughter, and I do most of it instructing. I teach people high performance driving, and I spend a lot of time at the racetrack, which I love doing it. I had a really good friend of mine. His name was Derek Hansen. He was the chief instructor of a Trillium BMW and also of the Ferrari Club, which he admired the car so much. And he always used to tell me, Chalkias, when are you gonna let me drive this car one day? I say, Derek, anytime you want it. So I was instructing one weekend at Massport with the BMW Trillium, and Derek, it was the one that doing the talk about, you know, the elevation of the truck and the turns and everything. And I remember him in the beginning trying to start the car and couldn't figure it out how to start, right? And I'm watching from up on the tower, and there's about 10 guys trying to push button and couldn't get it going. Finally, they got it started. And, you know, for me, seeing that guy, God bless his soul, it was one of the mentors to not only to me and my daughter that races here now, but to thousands and thousands of people that they admire that guy so much. And to me, every time I go, I get choked up. So, yeah. My first high-end car, it was a 360 Ferrari. I drove it thinking that, wow, this is it, this is a beautiful car. Until I got a ride with some of my friends that they own different cars. And the fact is that I race cars for over 35 years, and I'm an instructor, and I jump into cars from one to another. So I knew that that car wasn't doing it for me because I tried something better. So I sold that, and I bought a Lamborghini Gallardo. I didn't like that too. Then I kept on moving up and, you know, bought all different cars, which I own right now. And if you ask me, which one do you want to drive? I love all my cars. All the ones that I have here, they're all handpicked by me, and they're like my little kids, those cars. The Type R, it's a car that only a racer will appreciate it, because I've seen those cars coming to Massport racing, and I can tell you that they left a statement, those cars, back in the days when they were racing, the Americans, they were coming and racing those cars. And from that day, I said, one day I'm gonna buy one. A friend of mine called me and said that, hey, there's a guy that owns this car since brand new, and it's been sitting in his garage that he brought it home from back home here, and they never use it. It's been sitting for like over 10 years in the garage. So I said, okay, give me the information. So I went and I looked at it and I said, okay, I own this car. That Turbo S is a 997.5, they call it, and it's a 2013. It's a very, very, very rare car, not only for the year, but it's a take-art car, where they take the same car and they put a tune on it, exhaust, they put an aero package on the car. Like that car has got about 645 horsepower, and they put a different wing on it. That car took me about maybe 5 years trying to locate a car like that. I always had Vipers. I had the first generation in 1992 when those cars came, and I was the first guy to own one. And then I had a 94 and a 95, the last of the RT10s that they built. And when they announced that Dodge will not make any more Vipers and it will be a 217, and it was the last year that they making these cars. So I went and I put my order in right away, and I was one of the lucky ones that, you know, I bought that car. And from what I bought it back in the days when it was brand new to this day, it almost doubled up the price, those cars. They're selling them almost $350,000, you know, from $190,000 MSRP when those cars are. So there's ways to make some money on those cars, guys.
For more episodes of Auto Aficionado, make sure to like and subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comments. Until next time, stay tuned.